Marcus deleted his entire resume, every bullet point, every accomplishment, every job title he'd spent 15 years collecting. And for the first time in his adult life, he felt like he could breathe. It started with a letter, not an email. A physical letter printed on company stationery slid beneath his office door like a secret nobody wanted to say out loud. His position, data analyst, mid-level, respectable, had been optimized. That was the word they used. Not eliminated, not replaced, optimized. As if Marcus were a slow-loading web page that just needed a better algorithm. He sat in the parking garage for 40 minutes, engine off, staring at the concrete wall in front of him. His wife, Dana, called twice. He didn't answer. Not because he was angry, because he didn't know what to say. What do you tell someone when the career you built, the thing that defined you at dinner parties and family reunions and on your tax returns, simply stops existing? That night, he opened his laptop and typed 5 words into a search bar that would change everything. What jobs will actually last? And what came back wasn't a list of safe harbors. It was a map of a world he didn't recognize yet, but one that was already forming beneath his feet. The first name that surfaced belonged to a woman named Priya. She lived in Austin and called herself an AI prompt architect. Not a programmer, not an engineer. An architect, someone who designs the exact language, structure, and psychological framing that makes artificial intelligence produce extraordinary results. Companies were paying her 6 figures to do something most people didn't even know was a skill, talking to machines the right way. She didn't write code, she wrote intention. And the difference between a mediocre AI output and a breathtaking one, it lived entirely in the sentences she crafted. Marcus read her interview 3 times. Something in his chest shifted. Not hope, not yet, but curiosity. He kept digging. He found Jordan, a former Hollywood editor who now worked as a deepfake auditor. Every piece of video content that passed through a major news network, a courtroom, a political campaign, Jordan's team examined it frame by frame. Was it real? Was it generated? Was someone's face stitched onto someone else's body? The technology to fabricate reality had become so precise, so seamless, that an entirely new profession had been born just to defend the concept of truth. Jordan described the job like being a detective in a world where every photograph was a potential crime scene. Demand was exploding. Trust had become the most valuable and most fragile currency on Earth. If this story is already shifting how you think about the future, do something small but powerful right now. Subscribe and hit that bell. Because what's coming next is the part most people aren't prepared for. Marcus stumbled next into a world that felt pulled from science fiction. A clinic in Miami, sleek and white, staffed by professionals who called themselves longevity optimization technicians. Not doctors exactly, not personal trainers. Something in between, specialists who use genetic data, blood biomarkers, and AI-driven health modeling to design hyper-personalized protocols that didn't just treat disease but slowed the biological clock itself. Their clients weren't sick. They were 50-year-olds who wanted the cellular age of 35. And the science wasn't theoretical anymore. It was working. Marcus watched a video of a 61-year-old woman sprinting up a hill, grinning, her blood work showing metabolic markers of someone 2 decades younger. The technician behind her results was 28 years old and had never set foot in medical school. The ground kept shifting. He found Tomas, a structural engineer in Phoenix who had pivoted into what the industry was calling a climate adaptation architect. Not someone who built beautiful buildings, someone who redesigned entire neighborhoods to survive what was coming: extreme heat, flash flooding, wildfire corridors, rolling blackouts. Tomas described standing in a suburban development and realizing every house, every road, every drainage system had been designed for a climate that no longer existed. His job was to reimagine infrastructure for the planet as it actually was now, not as it used to be. Cities were hearing teams like his faster than they could train them. Then came the one that made Marcus set his laptop down and walk outside to stare at the sky. Orbital debris engineers. Thousands of defunct satellites, spent rocket stages and shrapnel fragments were circling Earth at 17,000 miles per hour, and someone had to clean it up. A new generation of specialists, part aerospace engineer, part environmental strategist, was being trained to track, capture, and deorbit space junk before it triggered a catastrophic chain reaction that could cut off GPS, communications, and weather forecasting for the entire planet. It wasn't glamorous, but it might be the most important sanitation job in human history. Marcus poured himself a drink. The world he thought he understood was peeling away like old paint, revealing something raw and strange and alive underneath. He read about virtual ecosystem designers, people who built entire immersive worlds, not for gaming, but for therapy, education, corporate training, and social connection. A woman named Suki had designed a virtual forest so realistic that patients with chronic pain reported a 40% reduction in symptoms after 30-minute sessions inside it. She described her work as building places that heal. The profession didn't exist 5 years before she started. Now there was a waiting list for her services. He found a profile on human-AI collaboration managers, professionals embedded inside companies whose sole purpose was to manage the relationship between human workers and artificial intelligence systems. Not its support, relationship management, mediating fear, redesigning workflows, making sure the humans didn't feel replaced and the AI was actually making things better instead of just faster. It required psychology, technical literacy, and an almost diplomatic emotional intelligence. One manager described the job as being a translator between two species learning to share the same room. Finally, the one that stopped Marcus cold: personal data sovereigns. Independent agents who helped individuals take control of their own digital identities. Every click, every purchase, every biometric scan, every location ping, all of it was being harvested, packaged, and sold. These new professionals help people reclaim ownership of their own information, negotiate its value, and decide who could access it and who couldn't. Your data was no longer just a trail you left behind. It was an asset, and someone needed to help you manage it like one. Marcus closed his laptop. The parking garage, the letter, the word optimized. He had spent weeks in a kind of grief, mourning a career that the world had outgrown. But sitting in the glow of his screen, surrounded by stories of people who had leaped into roles that didn't exist when they were in school, he realized something that hit him like cold water. He hadn't been replaced. He'd been released. Every skill he had: a pattern recognition, analytical thinking, clear communication, the ability to find signal inside noise, those weren't obsolete. They were raw materials. The job title was dead, but the human underneath it, that human was exactly what this strange new economy was starving for. Marcus opened a blank document. He didn't write a resume. He wrote a single question at the top of the page. What problem can I solve that doesn't have a job title yet? And for the first time since that letter slid under his door, he smiled. The future doesn't belong to people who wait for job postings. It belongs to people who see the gap before the title exists. If this story made you rethink what's possible, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And stay here, because the next one goes even deeper.